Hello and welcome to my multimedia project, which is a magnet board, and I've used a lot of fun elements. I'll be splitting this into 2 videos, so let's get started. Hi everyone, I hope that you can hear me okay. I also hope that there is not a buzz from my lights, and if there is, I'll do a voiceover instead. But I wanted to show you what I'm going to be working on, and these are little metal it's a little metal plate, and it's got chalkboard paint on it. And these are by, it's a Mix the Media, and these are by Hampton Art and Jelly Bean Soup. So I'm going to start off with this, and I'm going to alter it a bit. And some of the things I'm using will be Mix the Media, and this is a little love wire thing that I'm going to put on. Also, I have an art part from Wendy Vecchi. I have some flowers from Prima, and these are absolutely gorgeous, really pretty girly colors. And then some letters, and these are by Fancy Pants. And so I'm just going to spell out a little word here. I'm working on kind of a DIY area in my living room, and I keep adding things of melody, and so I wanted to add another little thing here. And this is also metal, so I can use it as a magnet board. And what I wanted to show you that I like to do also is, since let's see, let me find it here on my phone. I like to take pictures of kind of my layout and just kind of keep them on my phone. So once I have like a pleasing layout, I can refer back to the picture since I've moved everything around. I'm going to start off, and I'm going to be using some gel medium, and I like the soft matte gel. And also I'll be using the Tim Holtz tissue wrap, or tissue paper. Ooh, I'm getting low on my gel. Gotta refill that. So this is the Melange, and I really love this one. So I'm going to start kind of collaging onto my piece here, and just by tearing up some tissue paper. I've already pulled some out here and have torn up some pieces that I want to fit on. And I realize that once I stick this on, my white area is going to turn a little bit more clear, but that's okay with me. I'm cool with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a large brush and dip in here and start adding on some matte medium, or my gel medium. What is that called? Soft matte gel. Make sure I really want to make sure I get the edges really well. And I'm just going to kind of gop that on a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and lay my tissue wrap right on there where I want it. And when I get done, I'm going to kind of use a file board or emery board or something, and I'll sand off the edges instead of cutting them. And then they'll look a little bit distressed. But so I have a little bit of difference of color there. It kind of lightens up that black a little bit. And I'm just using my finger to make sure that I get all that stuff really pressed in well, so it has like a even coating. I'm going to go ahead and just add some more, and I do want to add this gel medium over the entire piece that has uniform texture and surface. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to this top area up here. My brush is kind of crunchy, and the way to remedy that is to just go ahead and pull those bristles apart. And wash your brushes when you're all done and make sure that you get those cleaned up really well. I pretty much keep a brush just for my matte mediums and such, so that I can keep clean brushes for my paints and stuff. So here again, I'm just going to use my finger and kind of move that underneath, move all that gel, spread it to the outside, spread it to the inside. Kind of like that has that little crack there. I'm going to tear this off of here, let that wire kind of hang out. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to let this completely dry. Okay, so while my metal piece is drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on my Wendy Vecchi art part here. And I have black embossing paste here. And I'm just going to use my palette knife, and I might get a little messy here. But I'm just going to go ahead and just spread some on a really thin layer. Make sure I get the sides a little bit. And I just want this black to be in the background, and I'm going to be using a crackle paste on top. So this gives me a really good base. I learned this from Wendy. gives me a really good base for that crackle paint to sit on. Doesn't have to be perfect, you just kind of want that color so that when this is all dry and I get the crackle paste going on, it shows black through the cracks. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit and dry, and I'm going to clean up my fingers and my palette knife. Alrighty, so this looks pretty dry. It's kind of stuck to my paper, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and just peel that off and allow that to stick. That's fine. So what I want to do now is to kind of rip around the sides and get some of the bulk off of that. But you can see how it's kind of translucent where it's dried, and it's awesome. And so I'm just going to tear it off. I can either leave it like that, but I do want it a little more finished on the edges. And just having that metal under there makes it really easy to tear. Just like that. And I keep an old emery board around just to kind of file things down. I'll do this a lot with, if I'm doing my wood veneers or whatever, I go ahead and just sand off the edges. You could use the Tim Holtz sanding block or a piece of sandpaper. And so I'm just sanding it off until I have that clean edge. I don't really want to go down to the metal or anything like that. I just want to clean off that paper. So just go ahead and roll that around, get it on top if you need to, and then kind of make sure that you peel that up a bit, see if it's done on the edges. So that sandpaper just takes that paper right off. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'm going to add some more stuff. So now I'm going to add some crackle paste to my my little art part here. And so I have the Wendy Vicky crackle texture paste. Oops. And I'm just going to use my palette knife once again, and I'm just going to go ahead and spread crackle paste. Now remember that where it's thick, it's going to have more crackle. Where it's thin, it's going to have smaller crackle. So thick actually is big crackle, thin is lighter crackle. So I'm going to get kind of a variation going on here. A little messy. That's okay, I like messy. Make sure I get those little tips. Okay. Kind of clear off the sides a little bit. And just kind of run this around, and then I'm going to set this down and let this dry. Okay, I love polka dots on my projects, and I'm going to add some embossing paste on here. But I want to color my embossing paste, and so I'm going to use the Abandoned Coral. This is the re-inker, so it's really good concentrated color. So I'm going to go ahead and color my paste, and I'm just going to put some in my dish here. And I am going to go ahead and open up my re-inker here. And I just want one little drop because I kind of want it pale looking. And then it makes this gorgeous color. One little drop is a lot of color. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And just mix that up with your palette knife. And then go ahead and scoop some up. And I'm just going to be very random about this. I do kind of want these to line up a little bit. But I'm just going to add just a couple here and there. If I end up getting it in areas that I don't want it, I can go back and kind of clean it up, which I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple there and a couple up here. I think my thing will... Okay, so now I have just a couple dots, and I can clean this up either using my palette knife or paper towel. If you don't like those half dot looking things, yeah, so just go ahead and wipe them up while they're wet. And also you want to clean your stencil. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and start adding my little letters in. These are just paper letters, and I'm going to be setting my O behind everything. So I'm going to put that down first. I'm going to allow myself time to kind of move things around if I need to. I'm not the best liner upper to get patterns going straight. A lot of times I use a straight edge just to make sure that I'm kind of straight. And yes, you can go over your paste there. I kind of want these colors to kind of pop out a little bit. And so this is kind of like just decoupaging my paper on. See, I don't think my U is straight. So get it before it dries. A little better. Yeah, I put my gel medium behind it and then also on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my, I want that to sit up a bit, my Y. Make sure I get plenty in behind. And then go ahead and press that down. And then I will go ahead, whatever's on my brush, I'll just go ahead and brush that around. That's super crooked. There we go. A little more happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just brush off what's left on my brush, and then I'll let this dry completely. Okay, I decided I wanted to add a little bit more paper and get a little bit more white going on in here. So this paper is from the Fancy Pants Office Suite, and it's just a really cute little polka dot paper that's not perfect polka dots, which I really love. And I did want to tell you, I did notice that my paste with the Distress ink colored in there, that does kind of react again with water. So just kind of be careful when you go over your embossing paste that's been colored. That you want to make sure that you don't go over it too much, otherwise it will run just a little bit. But once you get that sealant on here, because the gel medium acts as a sealant, it'll seal that up, and then you can go back in with color or do whatever you want on top. So I'm going to make sure I've got all my little edges really good so that that doesn't peel up once I clean up the sides. Okay, now I'm happy with that. I'm going to let this dry. Okay, I've just kind of got stuff laying out on top again just to kind of lay things out. And I have this little tag here that I'm going to add to this. And these are by also Jelly Bean Soup craft tags. And there's a bunch of different, actually I'll show you the back, a bunch of different designs in there that you can add to your things. I don't think the craft really goes well. I'm sorry, my phone just went. So I'm going to use my heavy gesso, and I'm just going to color this white. So I have just a smaller paintbrush. Just going to go over this a couple times until I get this completely white. To continue on to part 2 of this project, you can go ahead and click on the center of the screen.